Hello future tech leaders, I'm Sindhuja. Based on my own experience, I know that learning the right skills can shape our future. What if I say learning was as thrilled as the tech world itself? There we go. A cloud foundation, that's exactly what you will experience. From day one, you will be immersed in the interactive sessions and expert-led courses that covers most of the widely used technologies in the zone of data science to cloud computing, which brings more light to the life of a techie. I'm so excited to help you and unlock the true potential of a technology. Well, then why to wait? Let's see what it unfolds.
We discussed about components, which is the core, what is AM, what is enterprise level Siemens S, which is AM, what is Siemens. We discussed about the naming convention of the jars. We discussed about how you can create the different author and publisher instance by using the same jar, just updating the name of that jar. That's the only thing that we need. And using that you can update. You can create an author instance or a publisher instance by just giving a valid name to your jar and plus a valid port to your jar. That day, we also created our publisher instance by starting it. I didn't check if my instance is all started. I can do it now. Let me just close it over here. Just one question. Last session you mentioned that. What does that mean like enterprise level? You said that we can host all the website with an AM server, right? Just one question. Like now in our company, the whole AM thing, it's for staging, it's on AWS, but then for production, it's on like on-premise server. It was a bit confusing. Like, what do you mean by AM server? See, when I am running this website, see, it's a browser where you can see that I logged in with the localhost 45222. Ultimately, where the code ultimately see in case if you're running any website, anything that opens using a browser to run that thing or to run that pages or to run that website, you need a server. That server which is executing the jar or the WAR files behind this is AM. But where exactly is the space getting occupied? Like see, when I am creating the CRX, when the CRX fixed start folder gets created, this is occupying some space. How is it getting the space? This space is being taken by my Windows. Similar is the case with AWS. AWS only provides you with the space where you can create your AM instance, where the CRX folder will be created. But that AWS is only providing you space with the server where you have the space. But which server or which web server actually is responsible for running your AM? That is the AM server. When you open this within that AWS server, when you open this, AWS is only providing you the space to host your instance. But by what means is your website running is using the AM server. Got it. AM is a web server which is helping running the application. But where the space is occupied is AWS. Now you said on-prem is cloud. AWS is like your cloud where your website is hosted. That is like AWS is where you are. On-prem is like maybe on your own premises, Maybe within your company, they may have some servers where they have taken some servers and they may have hosted the website. Like a local location, right? Exactly. Local location. Within the company, they may have some server room where they have a lot of servers and they have hosted the website over there. There also, it's like only a holder for the AM instances. But then again, when it's running, it's an AM server actually. Exactly. Got it. Thank you. See, we have our publisher server also up and running. And we also have our author server that is 45222. Publisher server is running on the port 45513 and author is running on the port 45522. Now we have both of our servers running. That is the author and the publisher. And last time we also discussed how your author and publisher server works. Like your author server sits behind the firewall and your publisher is there. The end user comes and hits the website. Now see if I go inside the site. You have many websites or many pages created for different websites. Like if I go into the vRetail. These are the dummy websites that are already provided within AM for reference purpose. AM provides you with some dummy website that you can take the reference to build your own websites. That is for your reference. Now, if I open any page of this website, like if I open this men's, let me just click over here and edit this. The page 1 of the page of this website get open. The last time we discussed any new page that has to be created. It's not that you have to make a change in the code. What you can do is you can directly easily create a page like consider. We have this hierarchy where we are open the main page like here. The main page is created. Now if you wanted to create a new page below main, what you will do is just go here. You will click on create and you have to create a page to create page. And then it will ask you for the template. We discuss like we have PowerPoints, we have templates. In the same way we have templates over here. We have to select a template. Of course, a template has to be selected to create a page in AM without a template. You cannot create a page. I will say a new main page. And that's the name that I give to the page. And here I have my page up and available below the men's hierarchy. Here, see, the thing is that you do not have to write an HTML for this page. Like in the legacy application, you have to create a code. You have to write in code base to create a new page. That's not the case at runtime on fly. It can be created up and running. Now, if I open the same page, let me open this page on my publisher, which is running on the port 45023. If I open it over here, the page should be available because it's a dummy website page. It should be. This page should be available. Let's open this. I think it's opening. Let me also do one thing. Let me also open this page. This page I just created on the author instance. And let's try to open this page on our publisher as well. But of course we know that this page we have just created on the author instance. That is why it won't be available. The publisher instance. Just for like a page not found or error message. That's what we wanted to get to work here. And over, this page should be available because it's a dummy website. It should be available. It's taking a lot of time. See, this is the problem that if you start two instances on the same machine, it takes a lot of space. That's why. Till then, we can discuss about this page some basic things. Here, like in the last time we discussed about the Amazon website, the same way like here, we have different components placed on this page. A page in AM is basically built using collection of components. In a page, you just have to see what all the look and feel of that page and how you can achieve that look and feel of that part of the page by using which component you can achieve that. That's the thing you have to see. Like here we have this carousel component. We have this navigation component. Then you have this product grid component. Above that you have title components. These are all the components that are being used on this page. And ultimately, the page is created by using these many. These many components are being used to create this page. If you want to add any new component here, you get the responsive grid, or we also call it as the container component. Either it is. You can see if I over here, you can see the name is layout container. These are the components. This is also a component in AEM which can hold other or where you can drop other components. This component is either it can be a responsible. We call it a responsible component, or it is a layout container component, which are basically container component because they can contain other component in it. Here our pages are available on 4503. You can see this man's page is open. And of course we know that this page won't open because this page is not available. That is why we got 404 error message. And here you can see a publisher instance. You can see it's exactly like a live website. It's not exactly, but yes, it is a live website because we can edit anything. We can, if you want to drop any new component, or consider if you want to update this text to see how easy it is. What I mean, what is this? This is some title. Now the CMM wants to update the text within this title. It's featured product. Let's say it was new featured product and let authors want just to update this text. Now they do not have to make changes in their code, and just that they will update the text in the component. You see, this is the dialog of a component. Like a component is a core component, has three main things. One is when I talk about components, component for component, we need to create a dialog plus some HTML plus some Java. Java is achieved by using Sling models. Plus, there are other lot of things, but we will discuss as part of requirement. But these are, of course, these are the three minimum things, or three. These are the things least required thing which we need to have as part of our creation of the company. This is the dialog. This is the dialog. This dialog of the component. This dialog, every component would have a dialog which will allow some input, which will take some input from the author. And on the base of those input from the author, the component will show it to the on the end website. Here, I just updated the text and you would see the text has been updated on the author instance. Now it's updated on the authors, but it's still not available on our publisher instance. What we have to do is, we have to do this process. We have to do this process on author. We update it, but still the content has to be pushed to our publisher instances. It doesn't matter how many publisher instances are there, but it should be published. It should be pushed to all. Of course, it will be pushed to this publisher. It should be pushed to this publisher in case if we have some other publisher as well. The content should be pushed to this publisher as well because the request from end user will land on dispatcher and dispatcher can load balance and it can send the request to any of the publisher. Of course, all the publishers should be in sync, should have all the latest content that they can solve, the latest content or the latest updated content to the end user. Now we have this text updated on the author. How we will make it available on the publisher is through publishing it or replicating it. All this step is carried out is if you go to these three dots and here you have the publish page option. Also, if not from here, like the place from where we created the pages, if you select the page over here, here also you will get this with publish option. Publish replication activation. These three terms are used interchangeably in AM. Either we call it publish page or activate page or replicate. Three things are all same. We have these two ways. One is that you can go inside the page, you can click on these three lines and there you have the publish page option. Once you will click this, it will ask for some other related things on this page. Like it is saying, since these images are also associated with this page and there are some other policies which we will discuss later are also associated with this page. Do you want to activate or replicate or migrate or anything that you want to transfer? All these or just the page? I said I do not want all this. Just the page is what I wanted to replicate. Because if I click on all this, then of course it will create another load or burden on the server. Just simple. I said only activate this page. And now sorry. Just one question. When we publish, how would we know how many publishers we have set? Exactly. That's a good question. And I will come on that. How many publishers are there? And the other important thing is, how does AEM gets to know that even if I have one publisher, then the publisher is running on the port 4523 and on the same server. How does my author get to know this thing? I will tell you this in a minute. Till then, let's see. Let me just refresh this and we will see that the page has been. If our changes are reflected on the AEM website or not. You can see the changes are available over here. You can see I updated the text with new like over here. I changed the text, added the text to new featured product. A late was just featured product. Now it is reflecting on the AEM website as well. In the same way, like if you wanted to update any text over here, like always comfortable if you wanted to update it. Just let me just update the text. Always come comfortable. It's not there. If I will go, it's still always comfortable. Now, if I will go and let's take this way, I will select this over here and will select the quick publish and publish page. Here, the good thing is if you go through this panel, that is the sites panel. This panel is called as the sites panel. If you go through this way, then it won't ask you for whether you want to activate all the related things. Let me refresh my page and I hope it should have been done. You can see the updated text coming over here. This is replication. How in AEM we replicate or migrate our content from author is just to publish instance. Now let's go to the important thing of how does AEM gets to know from 4502 port is that our publishers are running on 4503 and how many publishers are there and whether all the publishers are running on the same server. And of course, it cannot be possible that they can be running on the same port. That is 3. Of course, there should be some configuration. That is, defining how many publishers are there and on which port are they running. How we will get to know is you have to go to the home, that is the AEM start, and there if you will go to this hammer icon. We will discuss about all these things like important things over here, like as of now. We discussed about the sites where we create our website pages. But we will discuss about the experience fragment. I said some more things. These are personalization commerce communities. These are all advanced. We won't cover this. And similar is the case with these like workflows. We will cover quite a lot of topics. But yes, going forward by the way we go and we cover each and every topic we will touch base upon all these links. Now, if you will go to this hammer icon and you will see there is a deployment. Inside the deployment, you will see there is a replication. This link. If you will go inside this replication link, here is the story of how this transfer or the migration is happening. In AEM, what exactly is the thing is that AEM makes the use of agents like if you have to travel from one country to another, you have to plan your trip. What you do is you delegate all that task to the agents. They are travel agents. In the same way, we have agents in AEM as well. And those, of course, are not called as travel agents. But here these are our AEM agents which are responsible for packaging the content on the author instance and then migrating those packages to our publisher instance. Now, how would AEM get to know that these are all your agents or agent would get to know that these are all the publisher instance and the agent are being sorry. The publisher instance are these many in number and they are running on these ports. We have to define the configuration for the agents. The agents are configured over here. What we did is we go inside the deployment and the replication and we landed on this replication. Here we have this agent or author because why we are going into this link and why not over here? Because of our agents. Which agents are we currently using? Is the agents or author? Because we are migrating the content. From author to publisher, author agents are being used which will package the content or author will migrate the content to publisher. In case if you have some maybe like blogging website where the content from publisher has to be transferred to author means reverse replication. It means our reverse replication. In that case, the agent will sit on our publisher instances. In that case, the agents will be configured over here. Agents are published. As of now, since our agents, which will be responsible for transferring the content from authors to publishers' agents, is my agent, which will migrate. The content will sit over here, agents or author. I went inside this agent or author, and here I will see there are a lot of agents already existing over here. You can see default agent, dispatcher, flush, reverse, application. Just ignore all these for now, and we will focus only on the default agent. See, this default agent is the one which will transfer or which will be migrating your content from the author instance to your publisher. But here, if I click on this, you can see the agent is in a neighbor state and it is replicating to localhost 40503. If you wanted to see the configuration for this agent, you will just go ahead this, and here you will see that the agent is transferring the content, host 40503. And these are the credentials. Admin. Admin are the agent credentials which are being used to track the content and then to transfer the content on permission. In case if you want to use some other user, then that user needs to be available on author instances and the publisher instances. I will tell you about the users later, but I don't know. Just remember that the agent should have the sufficient privileges that they can create packages and then they can write or modify something on the publishers. Because see, ultimately, some writing or some modification operation will be performed on the publisher. The user we will be using as part of our agent should have the sufficient privileges. We will discuss about these privileges when we go to this user creation section. It will understand that because I'm logged in actually right, that user in the user admin section would have had the permission right in order to publish. Alright, exact. Here, as of now, you can see it's the correct post and the correct port. Let's say if I accidentally updated to 4504, I accidentally said that my publisher instance is on 4504. I said, and here, what another good thing is that you can also check the connection, the test connection. If I will do a test connection, you will see it should fail because at 45 or in 3 days, no publisher running. And also, if I now activate this page, let me go and activate page that is published page. If I publish page and now if I go over here, my agent which is responsible for transferring the content, you can see it. If I refresh it, it should tell us that this agent is blocked and there is a queue for it. You can see the agent is being blocked and it is because the queue is blocked because this agent is not able to connect to our publishers. You can see I tried replicating this page, but this page is blocked because my agent is not able to work, because my agent is not able to connect on the portfolio. You can edit this and again correct this. 2 folder 3 and send, just close it. And we just click on this post directory. You can see I did post it and the page productivity. This is the default agent that is already available, which by default, actually coincidentally or not coincidentally, whatever you can see it, replicates the content on the port 4503. That is the same port on which we started our publishers. Now the question arises of, let me go back to the application. Now the question arises. Now the second question arises. That is what if we have multiple publishers, instance the ones in our that we just discussed. We can have multiple publish 1, publish 2, and there can be another publisher, publisher 3. And of course, let's consider this is running on port forward 523 and this is 4525. Of course, all cannot be done. All publishers cannot turn on the same server and same port. That cannot be possible. Same server is good, but of course not same ports. What we have to do is we have to create that many number of agents with that many. We have our publishers instance. We have 3 publishers instance. We have to create 3 default agents, one which will be migrating the content to 4-3, other which will be migrating to content 4.5-4, and the third one to 4.5-5. It cannot be, it is not possible that with a single agent, you can migrate the content to multiple publishers. Here the migration has to be carried out separately here, separately and separately over here by using 3 agents. This is the first agent. This is the second agent. And this is, of course, my third agent. Got any questions, any queries till now? We will define the agents here by ourselves, or it's a small configuration or a small change in the tool or configuration change that we have to do, and how you will create the agents. See, one way is you. I hope you know about the CRX screen. You can go to the CRX screen let me see where is where. Where does our agents at this part? And there is it under ETC. If you know ETC hierarchy, you can open the ETC hierarchy through MISC admin in case if you don't know. This is something like MISC admin. If you open MISC admin, MISCADMIN, that way it will take you to the whole ETC hierarchy. If you see all the folders let me also open the CRXD to match it. Both the things I opened parallelly. All remember, this MISC admin shows all the ETC hierarchy. Now, if I go to my CXD and here, let me go inside. Let me just close the ETC. Here you can see the first folder below. It is blueprint. Then we have the client context and client libs. Here you will see all the same folders over here. Let me just try to find the exact one. What was that? We have the cloud services, cloud settings. Here we have the cloud settings, cloud context, and we have the commerce. Here also we have the commerce. Here we have the DAM content sync. All these things should be here, which are configurable. All the configurable things would be here. Also, our replication is also here. You can see the replication. The replication is over here, and our agent was an agent or author. And here you have your default agent. Just copy it and paste it. And you can give it a name, publish one and copy it. And here you have your new publisher created. Here you can see. Sorry, let me just again go back. I clicked it. Maybe I clicked it here too far. Our publisher, one was ready. I double clicked it and it took me over here. And now I can do edit and update its port to a different port, that is 45. Another publisher. Oh, and just save it. Now, if I will activate this page, any of the page that I will activate, the request will go to both the agents. If I activate this page, you will see why this agent should get blocked, because at 4.5.4 there is nothing that exists. He doesn't find that port. Click, and now you can see it is blocked. That's how you will create in separate publisher. Question is, if we have that many publisher, do we have to create that many agents? Answer is yes. It cannot. You cannot replicate by using a single agent to all the publishers. Let me just delete this publisher, because every time now, if I will make a request, it will go to this publisher as well, and it will create a publisher button office. Let me just leave. With this diagram, we understood how we will replicate the content. Content will be created on author and then it will be replicated to the publisher. Now let's discuss a bit about the code base. How you will create the code base and how you will deploy it on your instances. Code base is something that is not replicated but is separately deployed on your author and all the publishers. If you have one author and if you have 3 publishers, then of course the code should be separately deployed on all the 4 instances. That is 1 author and 3 publisher. In case, if you have some tool like Jenkins, who automatically deploys the code on all your publishers and all the authors, that is very good. But in case if you do not have it like we are running, and in our case, we just have single publisher. But in case if we have multiple publishers, then I have to deploy the code individually on all the publishers as well as on author instances. Any questions? Any queries till now? Just one thing I remember from last session. Can you go back to your diagram, please? So, can I go back to the diagram that you just throw for the dispatch? For dispatcher, can we have it for author as well? I mean, it's possible, right? We can have like here. The request will be coming from our author or from CMT people like here. It will sit behind the author instance. The author is something that is not accessible to the end user. Like if consider you are working with a company which works with uses a game. I, as an end user, cannot access the author instance. I can only access the end website. Author can sit behind the firewall, but 99% of the companies do not have author in front of dispatch in front of their author. Because see how many people will be there who will be using the author instance, or maybe your team of 10 people who are developers. They may be logging in plus the CM, the content management, the author guys. They will be logged for maximum to maximum 100. That is of course not a huge number on our website. It will be thousands of requests that will be coming. That is why for that we need a dispatcher that catching can be done. Some load balancing can be done. Of course here, why would you need a dispatcher? Why would you need to create a separate server? Its maintenance, the server post, everything will be involved. Why would you need it? But yes, it's feasible. Without dispatcher, can we still catching like responses, like JSON responses? See on server level, like on author, on publisher. They maintain their internal cache. They do it, but there is nothing like that. You can control that cache or you can configure that cache or at instance level. There is nothing like this and dispatcher level. We can configure our files where we can define that. These files should be cached. These files should not be cached. That you can do, but author, it's like they maintain their own cache. But it's not that. It is that it can be configured, or it can be configured by the end user. Is there any configurable available? That is all black box for us of how they do a caching or what all caching they do. That is all black box. I will give you a brief idea about that later. But as of now, just understand that there is no configuration or nothing configurable of how and what all caching can be do or how we will clear this. It's nothing at instance level. There's nothing like. It's like handled by AM. Instance. It's not something that any developer can know because for us like that, we have like lots of responses and then these responses whenever we publish the new content. And that API, we will not show the updated content. And then every time, like myself, I have to go and clear cache for that particular response. And it will be for publisher instance. Also, that's for the publisher. This on publisher instance, you would have to you may be cleaning the cache or dispatcher, is it? For staging publisher for example. It means that there is some configurable configuration issue at your dispatcher level where with every activation it is not cleaning the JSON files. This is some issue at this level. Then we will go to and briefly discuss about the dispatcher. Then maybe we can take a back. Alright, thank you. Where was I telling that could need to be deployed? The codes need to be deployed separately on all the author and publisher. Now let's start our understanding of how will you create a new code base in for AM and how will you build that code base and how will you deploy that code base. The company must be having some code base on which they may be running. But in case if you get an opportunity to create a new code base, how will you do that? For that CAM, of course, we need Java to run AM. What is Java? What is Java? You need Java. And the other is Maven. Maven is being used, which will act as our build plus deploy tool. Maven is build plus deployment tool. Through this, you will build your code base and deploy your code base. But before building, we need a code base. Maven again also helps to create code base. Oh, this is also. That is, through this Maven only we can create a code base as well. That's our beauty. But how Maven will be able to help us create a code base of that is compatible with AM? How is that possible with Maven? Because Maven is totally an independent entity and AM is Adobe's product. But Maven or AM, they have internally worked and they have created a command which, like I am having over here, which is called as Maven R-type command. They have created a Maven R-type command through which, by just executing this command, you will have your dummy code base created. These Maven R-type command, they keep on making Maven and AM. They keep on making new features within this Maven R-type command. This Maven R-type command has multiple versions. Like I am using the version 23. But of course, also they are. They are maybe like 28 is the latest one or something like that. But it's like they are doing some improvements, some enhancement in there. They're in their command that the code base and dummy code base that gets created it should be more compatible or have more features. But for our training purpose, we are using the 20 free one. That will work. All that will work well with like 6.5 and Adobe as a cloud as well. Adobe. What I'm going to do is here. You do not need to understand each and everything in this. It's just that we are saying that the version of this is 23 and AM version is 6.5.0. And here I give a title to my code base, that is or my project or make AM code base. I gave the name as sample project and app ID, and these all makes this group ID is not package name like inside the core folder. The Java package that we get created. I gave a name as com.sample. I use this command. You can get it on internet. You just search. And also I will provide you in the chat. What I'm going to do is I will go to a folder where I have to create my code base. Here I created my instances, and here what I did is I have a separate folder with the name code. And here I have my code base folder. Let me just create any dummy folder you can create, and there you can create your code base. Here let me open get bash. You can use command prompt or get bash, anything you like. That is up to you. And here I will just write this command and you will see in a minute that your code base will be. We just close this. Let me open the command prompt over here. Let me use the command and let me start this command. Do you see? As of now, there is one with the name team. Let me hit this command, and what we expect is that there should be a code base with the name sample that should get created for using this Maven R-type command. And it will internally do some processing and it will create a whole code base for us. Pretty simple. Like the structure of the project itself, right, like core, and then UI app, UI console, something like this, right? Maven is taking care of this structure. Maven. With collaboration with ADM, they have created this Maven R-type command and they will take care of creation of the structure and will do all. The build is failed. But we do not have to worry because somewhere while creating some dispatcher, see it created our code base CM code with sample. It has created, but somewhere the dispatcher some issue. We do not, some privileges issue occur. That is because we do not even need to use this dispatcher because we do not have the dispatcher set up. You will see the sample project for the sample code base folder is created. And if you will go, you can see all is there. Core is there. The dispatcher is there. This UI apps, UI content, UI frontend. Everything is there. I will tell you the purpose of these, each and every module. But you can see all these are automatically created. Even if I go inside the core, you can see. Inside the SRC you have made and Java counts, all these are created. Plus they also provide you with some basic like Java file. That you can take a reference of basic files or basic code through which you can take the reference. Here we have the base sample project created. We have one parent form, that is the Maven form. And I hope. But how much? How good are you with Maven? Like, do you have the basic understanding of Maven or what? I know like dependencies and like how it works. Like, for example, if you want to work with any library or something, you need to define the dependency. It will be downloaded and then you can import the package. This sort of thing. Exactly. Dependency is, of course, something you need to know as a game developer, because by the time you need to enhance or bring some new features or make the use of some third-party API or third-party libraries in your code, you have to use the dependency. That in dependency, you will mention that this is the API or this is the library that I wanted to use. You will mention it in the dependency, and when then you will run your Maven command. You need to make sure that you are connected to internet, because it will read that dependency and it will download it from internet to your local internet. If I open this form, the parent form, it will tell you the things about all your child modules. Here we have all our child modules or some modules, and here you can see it gives us that these are all the child modules that it will build. We know the dispatcher module is something we do not have to use. I'm commenting this. These are of not use for us. And also this UI front end module is also not used for us, because we are not going to work on any Angular or any front end framework or something. We are not going to use for any front end code or any major front end code. If you are not working with simple jQuery, but you are using some front end technology, then you have to make the use, or you have to write it inside the UI front end. Because here all the npm dependencies, all those things are being defined over here. Is that the UI front end? Here we have, let me just briefly tell you, core is where all the backend Java files are being created inside the core. Then we have our UI apps, all the components, every component, templates, static templates are being created over here, UI apps. We have the UI app structure. This is an empty module. It's given if I go over here. It's an empty, just contains the form XML. If I go form the src name, you can see it's empty. There's nothing in this. It's just the form that tells us or will give an indication to AEM about the structure of your apps folder in CRXP. What all will be there inside the app folder. It will give a basic structural idea of that. Then we have the UI content, any content related thing, like anything that you wanted, any dummy pages that you wanted, like inside the content hierarchy, or any DAB that you wanted to check it out. However, it is not recommended, but in case sometimes you, of course, the content that you create, you do not check in that content. This content that you created are always created on the author, then are replicated. Now consider a scenario where your whole author and all the publisher are like corrupted. That content will be lost. Those contents are something that is not checked in. What AM says is that you, time to time, keep on taking the backup of your content. You're saying something. No, the content. Actually, it's the whole website, right? The whole website. Got. What AEM says is that you on daily basis, you should keep on taking the backup of your content. Because content is something that is a part of your instance, that is a part of your server only. But sometimes just some dummy pages or sometimes some dummy pages. We also check in our content as well. Because like a test pages or something like that. Like some test pages or some home pages. Because why do we do that is when sometime requirement comes that you have to create a new server where you just have to test some dummy thing. In that case, you will deploy this code and you will get that test page or that home page automatically as part of code base, and you do not have to package it and then again deploy it in that new server for the new instance. Some dummy pages or some test pages. But you can also have it as part of your code base and that you will place it inside the UI content. I mean, like I was telling that when you're packaging like the content likely from product, from staging to production, we won't package those dummy data when we package. There's a filter thing, right? We won't choose that. We don't like we package. See, we package the dummy content most of the time, like some test pages is what we package and we place it as part of our code base. Is that what you wanted to ask? I think like I just wanted to, on top of what you said, I wanted to tell this one. I mean, I got. Maybe I haven't got your question, but just let me rephrase that. You mean that the content that we package. Which type of content? Is that what you mean? Like we can choose, right? Which content we want to package. Exactly that we can do. I will tell you also. I will tell you also which content we want to package. That I will tell you how you can package it. What is the way you package the content? I will tell you that. There is a package manager screen through which you can package the content. We have all these folders like these are the IT test where you can write the front end test cases. All the backend JUnit has to be written inside the core. And this all is nothing but once you compile all your code base, that compiled form of code actually is a zip file. That zip file gets stored inside the app, inside the all folder, and then from the all folder that zip file gets deployed into R. Now we have all this code base. We commented this. We commented this because these are not required. We commented this UI front end as well. And one more thing. No sec. Should I go ahead? Go ahead. And inside the UI apps, if I go to the form here, see, I've been using it. I just from long. I know that inside the UI apps form there is a dependency for UI front end. This is also something I have to comment because since you are commenting the whole UI front end module Of course, it depends its dependency. Also something we have to comment. We did this. We commented the UI front end and all these. And now we are good to compile our code base. How we will do that is, here we have, let me just clear it. And then I go inside the code base. But it was a name. It was simple. And now we have the sample. Now we have to build this code base and then we have to deploy this code. It's a two-step process. First, we build the code base and the build form of the code base will be zipped. And that will be stored inside the all folder. Here, within here, there will be, when I will build the code base, it will create a target folder. And within the target folder, it will get created that will have our build code base. Then the second step will come into action, that is deployed. Once our build is completed, which will create the zip. And then the deploy will come into action, that will deploy our code base into the zip instance. We will use the command maven clean install. Maven is to tell that we will be using Maven as a tool to build. Then firstly, we write a clean. What clean does is it cleans the previously built code base. There is already any zip file available or any target folder already available. It will clear that. Firstly clear and then it will create a new build from scratch. If I write Maven clean install and if I just hit this, it will take some time because we are executing it for the first time. Well, it will take some time. We will download the dependencies and it will build the whole code base. And at the end, you will see that there will be target folder that will be created over here, and like everywhere, even inside the core also, there will be a target. Even inside the UI apps also, there will be a target that we get created because ultimately every of these modules will have a compiled code that will be inside the target folder. And all that compiled code will ultimately get merged or compiled into a single zip that will be stored in the all folder. It will take some time because since it is running for the first time, it will take its own sweet time. And then you have some questions you can ask me. Just one question. Sorry, I'm asking by case because I face these challenges. That's why I'm asking whenever there is a new feature that it needs to go live. What I do, it's like I do the same thing that you were just doing. Like I package the things. I run that command like maven install. Then there is -p auto install. This part, I'm not sure why. Like my colleague, when he was telling me to do these things before, he told me to install the UI apps only. I just wanted to know why only UI apps? Maybe your changes would be there, or the fix that you would have done would be there inside the UI app only. Maybe I'm just assuming it. But what happens is, see the target folder. It's successful. Let me just tell you about these things and then I'll answer your question. Here we have target folder created and here we have the, and also if I go inside the core, here also I will have the target folder and there you be, have our bundle created. We don't call it job, we call it as bundle. I will tell you the difference between a jar and a bundle. In we do not call it as jar, we call it as bundles. If I go inside the UI apps, here also the target folder is there. And this is something that your colleague may have been asking you to install. I will tell you why. See, ultimately, all the modules will have the target folder created and they will have their own compiled code. And ultimately, all this compiled code will get merged into a single zip, which will be there inside the all folder. All folder this. This is the collection of all the compiled code somewhere over here. You will have all the things. First thing to answer is, you said Maven clean, install minus the auto install that thing. What is that? Minus the over here. The answer is this question is, as of now, what we did is we used Maven clean install. What it was doing is, it was only doing the first step, which was building your code. But the second step is still to be done. Deploying your code base for build is done. But you have to deploy it. You deploy it. That is why we use the second step, that is minus P. And what was the name? To get the correct name. What you can do is you can go inside the all folder inside the form. And here you have that minus P thing. Let me just see if it is. This minus P is called as profile, which actually tells how would you deploy the code. How you will deploy the build code into AM. You build the code. But how will you deploy is by using your profile. Minus P actually tells the profile over here. There you can see we have the profile section and within the profile we have this auto install single package. This is the profile that we will use. Say minus P and auto. I don't know if it's a capital P or small p. It is capital. Capital. Cap. And then I will use the profile name. This is called as profile and the profiles are defined inside the all folder form ML, and now I will just enter this, and what it will do is, as of now, if I go to my this localhost 4052, you can see it does not have any simple folder. You can see the code is still not. But by using this, our code is getting built, compiled, and it will deploy the code inside of a KM. Now your friend must be saying that you should use that zip inside the UI apps and you should go inside this one screen package. Then what you do is you can install or upload over here like upload package, and then you can select that zip of your UI apps. Like this was created. Then like my changes, mostly it's in core thing. I mean, we do have like new components on the UI apps on all those things, like those things. But then, like my changes are mostly like inside, like servlets and all those things. That's why I'm just wondering. See, in case if your changes are there inside the core, that is inside your servlet Java file. There is no purpose or there's no purpose of installing it to the packet manager. Packet manager has a different purpose. But in case if you have to install, if you do not see, I ran this command. It will again build the code and it will deploy the code. But consider if you only want to make the changes inside. If you are making a change inside the code, I will tell you. Let's complete this build and then I will tell you the solution for that. Let's just complete. Let's just wait for this build to complete. And you will see in a minute that your packages will also get deployed. Like I know that also, that like for the first time we do like package, and then if we only change, like we don't want to install, hold the package every time. We use like bundle, right? You use like what? Bundle like Porto install bundle instead of Porto install bundle. That is exact. You are absolutely right. You can use -Porto install bundle. I will tell you another way of that. Here you can see the sample package is now over here. All your code is now over here and also here. If you will refresh it, you will see all your sample bundles over here as well in the packet manager. Thing. Let me just close the tab that I it is slow. And here you can write the same command and the profile that is -p that you are going to use. You can also find it in the form of code. If I go inside the form of code and just search for the profiles. Oh, 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 let me just get it from the parent for money. What is all bundle? Oh, 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 oh. Yes, I think he also knows. Oh yes, I'm just checking. Where exactly is that? Oh, I think it's there. Let me just. Oh, 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 oh. Yes. Oh, you just posted? Oh, to install the parent form. What you can do is you can go inside, directly inside the code, and then you can write it from that. That way, instead of building the whole code base, it will only build your code and it will deploy the code on it. Like Maven 3. I What is done by that? This way, it will run. It will do is it will only compile the code and it will deploy it. Deploy your. But only it will do like it will shorten your. And also what happened to this? Also, there's another way where you can duplicate this and there's another screen. That is system. I don't know if you're aware of this. Are you aware of this system? Somehow. Inside the system. Once we have the bundles like, it will automatically take you to the bundles in case. If we don't, then all the bundles here also. But you can do is there also list all your bundles like all the bundles out of box or your company, all those bundles are listed. And also you can click on this installer update and you can do the file and your bundle will be. You can select the file and like whatever file it was, like it was in the C drive. And then your code and your code base, your team, not team, but sample. And then it will be inside the core and target and you can select this. You can select open, but it's already there for us. We do not need. This is another way where you do not need to like. Of course, you need to build your code, but you do not need to use -3 auto install because that part you are doing manually instead of using the command. Maybe clean install is building your code base and then this profile is deploying your code base. It's a step also. What's good? Let me just refresh them. And here you should also be able to find your sample. Here you can see the sample project for your bundle is also there and you need to make sure it should be active. All your bundles should be in active state. All the necessary bundles should be in active state in case. If they are not in active state and are in any other state, then it means there is some issue with that bundle, with the code of that bundle. I'm saying it bundle all the time. It is actually, if you see it is jarred because even if I go over here you can see into the target jar, but we call it as bundle. Here also you can see it's an executable jar file. But why I'm saying it bundle again and again that I will tell you in the next session. Today, if you see over here, we have been able to successfully create our code base. We have been able to create our code base and also deploy our code base. Here we have deployed our code base. Either you can individually build and deploy your code base by going inside like core, and similarly you can go inside the UI apps and there you can use a specific profile for it. Like here, it is the auto install bundle, and there should be a profile for the auto install package. See this auto install package. What initially we used was the auto install single package. That will create the package for all of the modules. All the modules like core UI apps, content, everything. Exactly. But in case only if you wanted to build UI apps, and you can use this profile, auto install package. Can you go to the CXT? Everything will be under apps, right? That's why. In the next session, I will tell you the purpose of each of these folders. But yes, apps is where we as a developer work. All the development, custom development by AM or by ARM dev will be done inside the apps. Like you as a developer will create your component. You will deploy your code inside the apps. We have the libs folder. Libs folder is something where the development or codebase of Adobe is stored. All the code of Adobe is being stored in the libs folder. Home folder is where the users and the groups are being stored. Any new user that you created, we will discuss in the next session how we will create groups and users. But every group and user are being stored inside the home folder. etc is miscellaneous. Miscadmin, we just discussed. It contains like the replication and other things. Most of the Adobe code is also stored inside the etc folder. We have the content folder where all our pages, all of our digital assets, DAM, our experience, fragments, all those things, all of our forms, adaptive forms are being stored inside the content. Content is something that, of course, we will change through the UI. Like here, we will go to the site and there we will update the content. Conf is the place where you will create the configuration, and also editable templates are being stored within the conf hierarchy. Now I know that. That's why he only asked me to get the UI apps. Because even though I may have installed the core bundle only, but then that core bundle is under the apps. The apps bundle, right? That's why every time I use the apps, bundle the deployment. And finally, do not forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel.